Right, do you want to test the mic?
It's on. I'm checking. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. They both
Can you,
working.
okay, look, is it?
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, sorry. Just checking.
Yeah. I need to shave in a minute now. Right.
Is this how you're supposed to wear your mask?
Go on in.
Hello, good morning, good day, well, whatever it is. Welcome to the Regimental Museum of the Royal Welsh. I know we've talked about the museum in the past, but I just thought I'd refresh your memory, because mine's going, and just talk about one or two items connected to the Zulu War. Now, you all know that the weapon was the Henry Martini 577 450 loader Mark II. This is a Mark IV, and the reason being the cocking arm is long, right? So this was brought in after the Zulu War. Weighs about 9.5 pounds, quite heavy. The average height of a British soldier was 5'4" to 5'8", 32-inch chest, 28-inch waist, and weighed about 8 stone. That rifle with a bayonet was bigger than him. Mark II. As I said before, and some have come up and sort of said that my ranging distance is wrong. The maximum range, and I didn't say killing range, I said the maximum range from when the bullet comes out of there to where it lands could be 1,350 yards. The optimum killing range is 300 to 500 yards. It's a .45 shell. If it hits you, it'll take more than a brufen or an aspirin. If it hits a bone, it'll take your leg off, take your arm off. Quite easy. The bayonets. Standard bayonet. But they found out that when they were attacking the Zulus and they were using the bayonet, because it had a multi-use with the troops, it chamfered off about 3/4 of the way down, so they just left with a stump. Trouble was, the bayonet was used for everything. Getting stones out of the hoofs of the animals pulling the wagons, stuck in the ground to hold the tents up, stuck in a wall to hold your coat up. Where that's all it is a killing instrument. So after the war, they brought in the Mark IV rifle, which is the previous one I had, and they brought in a new bayonet. Oh, no, I got that wrong. Well, never mind. This is the bayonet for the Mark II. This is the Mark IV. You can see the difference in the end. And if anybody wants to pick out my deliberate mistake, send me a comment. All right? I've done something on purpose, but I'm not going to tell you. Now, the interesting thing is today the regiment, as the Royal Welsh, still celebrates Rorke's Day, January the 22nd, and we know the exact day and exact time. January the 22nd, 10 minutes past 8 in the morning, 20,000 Zulus attacked Islandwana. Now, Islandwana, that's all that means. It's Zulu for clenched fist. and that's for the shape of it, because everything the Zulus do is by the shape. They come in, the one in charge, never been in charge of troops before in a combat situation. He wrote a letter, and the letter stated, "Staff officer, report just come in, Zulus approaching front left of camp in force. Signed, Pauline. 0830, 22nd of January, 1879. By the time that the dispatch got to Chelmsford, the regiment was nearly wiped out. 1,350 men were killed. There was 50 got away. 6 of them were members of the 24th Regiment, and they got away because they were dressed in blue, because what the king said, the Zulus done, and he told them, kill the redcoats. So everybody in red, scarlet, was killed. The ones in buckskin, ones with white shirts, were just ignored. And once the Zulus had gone through, they turned around, come back to kill the ones that they'd hadn't bothered with. And our 6 got away, got down to the Buffalo River and crossed. Now, it's a myth that the Zulus went straight across, because a Zulu can't swim, because they got the shape of their body is pear shape, and all their body fat is around this area, and that's why you very rarely see, I've only seen one, and I'm 70, I've only ever seen one black man in the Olympic Games, and everybody jumped in together, and by the time he finished, they'd already had a cup of tea and 2 biscuits. So everything that is written by the press and stuff like that is done basically for excitement and to sell papers. There's a very good book called Washing the Spears by Donald Morris. An American. It's classed as the Bible. I've read it a couple of times, and it's one of the only books that I've read about American battles that John Wayne isn't in. So Donald Morris, Washing the Spears, gives both sides. Now if you're in the army and you're standing there, you can tell the name of the regiment by looking at the cap badge. Now the Zulus were exactly the same. They were made up of impis, and an impi is a regiment, and it could be anything up to 5,000 men. A Zulu could not get married until it killed someone in battle, been praised by the king, been blessed by the shaman, or whatever you want to call him, and he was over 35. But to start it all off, you had to kill someone. There'll be a lot of single blokes in the Ronda, I can tell you that now. But the way that you tell a regiment in the Zulus is the shape of the end of these spears. Assegais. You just way to remember it is, who threw that? Assegai, and that's another assegai. Different shapes, different regiments. In Cardiff, the regiment, the Royal Regiment of Wales, before it became the Royal Welsh, they've done a scene and a tattoo of the Zulu campaign. And they were allowed to use these weapons. The only good thing about it, 9.5 pounds. I bet this is nearly 2 pounds. It's made of plastic basically, but at the distance it looks like Henry Martini. That's the ones that they used as props basically. Very well made at a distance. You wouldn't be able to tell them apart. So that basically is a little bit about one or two items in the museum. The last item is you've got an Henry Martini 577 450, 300 to 500 yards. It's great, but what you've got to remember is that all the Zulus had was a shield. You'd have an assegai, a war club. Some might even have throwing spears, but to throw them 800 yards, possible. But they had the guts to run into an hail of bullets at Islandwana. No one knows the number of Zulus that were killed because they were taken away by their comrades, and they were still finding them days after in ground with a shield on top of them and stones built up, not for the animals to get at them. But you'll see all this if and when you come to the Regimental Museum of the Royal Welsh. There's a lot more stuff inside. It's a great place to come in, and don't think you'll come in to spend half hour. Some people have spent 4 or 5 hours in there. Now, Richie 42 was the boss man. He wears a mask because everybody thinks that he's a bandit. But we were talking this morning, and what we thought was, if you wanted something special, if you send us the information on what it is, we can't guarantee we'll be able to get it, but we will research it and we'll talk about it. We can use pictures and stuff like that, but it's a challenge for you. And do me a favour, bell, register and pass it on to someone. Okay? We're not doing too bad, but there's a lot of ones that haven't registered, and it's an opportunity for me to get higher up the ranks, and then I can shout to these two behind the camera. So keep safe, keep well, look after the elderly and look after yourself. From the crew, Richie, Bill 28 and myself, keep safe. Thank you. One thing, it's all right when I make a mistake because every one of you can see it. But I don't care. But Mr. Perfect, Richie 42, cameraman extraordinaire, has been filming me standing here talking about some items of the Zulu War. Now, if you look over my right shoulder at the glass behind, You see Richie. And that's why I get nervous, because I think I'm surrounded. And it's bad enough looking at him from the front, but from the back. So just remember, draw the curtains next time you do something. Bye.